Welcome to the Not Superheroes Just Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. Hello, I'm Sean Laurie. I hope you guys are doing well. Um, I have some things I wanted to dive into, but before I do that, I want to just thank Mr. Flag again for hopping on the podcast with me last week. I definitely don't take that for granted. It was beneficial for me as well to have you on, man. So I definitely appreciate that. Now with that being said, y'all, I wanted to actually reflect, right? So on this episode, I wanted to reflect, as obviously now we're in the new year, right? But just reflect on certain things, things I've learned and experienced, and maybe even some things that hopefully will be beneficial for you guys as well, something that you guys can take from it, right? And so last year, I think I told you guys, if you guys remember, or if this is your first time, listening or watching, but I do words. I don't do certain things as far as this year I want to accomplish this or whatever, but I more so do like a theme. So last year's theme was intentional. Intentional. And it was kind of crazy when I look back at it, because that word really became a theme for me last year. Being intentional with my work, being intentional with my family, being intentional with so many different things. And with that, I realized that I was lacking certain things, right, with being intentional with. And so, but now as when the year was ending, it actually helped me to refocus and to really do what I need to do. But there's lessons that I've learned from that, right? There's lessons that I learned, and one of those lessons for me was also not letting everybody in, right? And what I mean by that is not letting everyone know what's going on with me, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, right, some people don't have the best intentions for you, right? Some people might not even mean to, but they might be envious of you. And there's people, right, that will. Everyone thinks they're not everyone, but a lot of people feel they're experts, right? As far as how you should do things, how you should run things, but they're still figuring out themselves, right? And what I've learned for me is, you don't take offense to that. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times their intentions are good. They just don't realize that it's coming from a place of almost judging, or being a place of feeling like they have the answers when they don't, right? Because you're looking at it like, okay, you're telling me how I should do this, how I should do that, but yet, you're not willing to take a step, a leap of faith, I should say, right? So for me, that's something that I've learned, right? I've learned just this past year. I mean, I've been new it, but it was one of those things that I guess really stuck out. And those that know me know that I try my best to try to help those, and try to be there for people. But also know that's not going to always be the case for me, right? Just because I'm that way with people doesn't mean that it's going to be the same way for me. And so understanding that people will switch up, people will change up, and that's part of life. And you just kind of, have to love them from a distance, or you have to understand that, okay, that was the season, right? In that season, in that previous season or something, you know what? I thought this was someone that could really help me, or someone that was going to support me in here, or someone that was going to really, be encouraging for me. And maybe they was, or maybe they wasn't. But understanding, hey, not everything is going to be for a lifetime, right? And understanding that. Even when I have guests on, right? There's haven't had them yet, but there's gonna be times when I have maybe a couple guests that's been on before, right? Like what they was going through or what season they was in, it's not gonna be probably the season that they was in on that episode. Now they're in a different stage of their life, right? So that's just part of life. And so, for me, just understanding that and understanding where I want to get to, where my goals are, I can't take everyone with me, right? I can't help everyone because not everyone wants to be helped, right? And so for someone that really cares and really loves hard and really tries to be there for everyone, I have to understand that I can't control everyone's actions, right? I can't, even though I see things a certain way, I can't help them see it, right? They have to kind of go through it. That even comes with me being the father, right? With my oldest. She's now 19. There's things that she's dealing with, things that she's experienced that I've seen, that I've went through, right? And even though I tell her certain things, also understand that she has to kind of go through it, right? She has to experience it. Even though at times for me, I'm like, oh man, like I want to save her, I want to rescue her. I have to also understand that she has to go through it because at the end of the day, that's where growth comes in, right? And so I say that because the last year, I feel like me being intentional, me understanding that I wasn't being intentional enough, also was an eye opener and beneficial for me because I had to go through those things to experience growth. And so, honestly, for this year, I feel like the word that really sticks out is growth, which sounds cliche, of course, but for me, I feel like really just growth in all aspects of my life, personally, physically, spiritually. I just want to continue with the growth because I feel like I've been going in that direction, but now I need to continue with that and take it to a whole nother level. And with growth, how do you really see growth, right? It's consistency. How you see growth is being even more mindful of how you unlock your emotions, right? Me being very understanding and aware when it comes to emotional intelligence, but taking it up a whole nother notch, right? Me also understanding that it's okay to take a break at times, right? That's why I took that 1 week off. I'll be honest, y'all, like it was difficult for me because it's hard for me to take a break because I want to go, go, go. But understanding and reflecting and appreciating things like, I coach. I think I told you guys this, or I coach and stuff. And just because of the holidays and stuff, I haven't got a chance to coach like that. But it was a good reminder for me, a good reflection for me to just appreciate the little things, appreciate my family, seeing my kids play and, argue, just little small stuff that's easy to take for granted, like be able to take that all in, right? My son's birthday was New Year's Eve, right? And so just seeing him as he's growing into a young man and, seeing him at just being a kid, honestly, right? And even for him, he kind of took a break because he loves basketball, right? But he's been more so, messing with the football some, playing with his friends on video games and just, running around, just doing kid things, right? Same thing with my youngest ones. My youngest daughter now is in gymnastics, right? So, seeing her excited about that. So, just being able to take those things in. And so for me, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, that is something that I really appreciate that. I also wanted to address something too, because someone mentioned before, to me like, hey, like, I love what you're doing. I think it's so beneficial. I think it helps. But even though it's beneficial, even though it helps, you should get more viewers. You should have more people, really tuning into what you're doing. And that would be great. That would be amazing. But I also understand that what I'm doing is more of a crock pot, right? It's going to take time. And that's because I'm not trying to do the microwave approach. No disrespect to those that's doing that, to each his own. But for me, I rather really just give you um, my content as far as things I've learned, things I've experienced, have people speak on their experience, and really be something that's beneficial to us as men, as fathers, to really help elevate us. That's what I'm about. I really want us to succeed. I want us to elevate. I want us to all level up instead of just that quick take, right? Oh man, you know what? Your baby mama's terrible, right? Or you know what? I don't know, whatever. Just some outrageous take. Excuse me. Some outrageous take. Excuse me. That that'd be good for clicks and things like that, but there's really no substance, right? It's almost, I look at it like an artist, right? Where you hear that one song in the club and it's amazing. You're like, oh my gosh, this is great, but the album is absolutely terrible. You're like, they only have one good song out of 15 songs they dropped, right? And so I understand that. I understand that my approach is going to take longer because I I'm really in it to help others. I'm really in it because this is what I'm passionate about. It's what I care about. So I do appreciate those that's like, hey, you know, man, you should come up with this hot take, or you should, be a little bit more firm. But at the end of the day, I'm not perfect. So I never want to come off as I know everything, I know it all. These are things I've learned, these things I've studied, these things I've researched. That's why when I do tell you guys things, I say all the time, right? I'm like, hey, research it yourself, just so you know I'm telling the truth, but also because maybe you get a different point of view on whatever I'm speaking on. I never try to claim that I'm better than the next person or that I know more than the next person. That's never been my approach. That's never been the way that I've operated, and so that's why for me, I try to be humble. Any type of compliment, any type of thing, I take it to heart, and I'm super grateful for it. That's why um, when Jeff last week, gave me that humbling praise I was thankful for, like I was a loss for words, right? Just because, again, is one of those things where I'm like, dang, okay, he sees me, right? He sees what I'm doing, which I appreciate. So anytime I get any type of compliments or something like that, I humbly take it, and it's just one of those things for me. It's encouraging, just like, okay, hey, keep going. Don't worry about um, those I guess fast likes or quick clicks or whatever. I don't know the right wording for it, but just to keep focusing on what I'm doing and my approach on it, right? So with that being said, I'm looking forward to um, what's to come this year. Um, there's things I want to do more for the community. There's things I want to do to really impact, us as men, as fathers, because I feel like it's not enough of it, which is great though. I have been seeing more um, men and more people taking that approach of really just trying to, uh, uh, I guess, have an outlet or have a voice for men, which has been great, And so I'm just one of many others that's doing what I'm trying to do, and I just want to continue to level up and encourage you guys, right, to level up as well. So, whatever it is your goal is, whatever it is you want to accomplish this year, really stick to that. Really write it down. If I'm big on journaling, if you can, write that down. Right, write that down in a journal, because there's just something about writing out our goals, or shoot, have it on your fridge, right? Have it on in your bathroom where you have to see that every day. Like, man, okay, I said that I was going to get that new car. I said that I was going to level up at this job. I said that I was going to finally go back to school, right? All these things that we said we was going to do, it's like, hey, I'm doing it, right? So just holding yourself accountable for that, right? And so I just really want to just encourage you guys, as well, um, to to keep on pushing forward, man. Because I'm not the only one that deals with things, right? I know as fathers we deal with a lot of different things that don't get talked about. It could be our kids, it could be work, it could be our spouses, shoot cars, our house, whatever it is. Things need to be fixed. A bill needs to be paid, right? So it's just so many different things that that we deal with, but we try to make sure that we have a smile on our face, that we uh, uh, don't don't at least for me, I can't say for you guys. For me, I try my best, no matter what's going on, to not take it out on my family. You know, I try my best to not take it out on them, and even at times when they do something crazy, I try my best to stay focused on that moment and be like, okay, you know what? Am I reacting off of what they did, or am I reacting off of whatever I got going on, right? And kind of checking myself with that. So, yeah, you know, this is just something I really want to just share with you guys, and um, I thank you guys so much. Those that have been rocking with me, those that have been listening, or the messages, um, every little thing that you feel like is not a big deal. Trust me, it's a big deal to me. Um, just because it's one of those things. It's like, okay, hey, someone is paying attention, someone is noticing. Because my goal is, if I can just help one person, right? If I can just encourage one person, I feel like at the end of the day, I'm doing something right. I'm in the right path. I'm in the right lane, and then I just let God, move from there, right? And so, um, yeah, guys, yeah, I like I said, I just want to really focus on, or not even focus on, I should say, I just really want to reflect and share some of the things I've learned, and in hope that it could be beneficial to you guys as well. Maybe something you heard, maybe something stuck to you. Anytime I have a guest on, I do my best to try to make sure it's something that I feel like could be beneficial to you guys. Also, shout out to my guests. Shout out to every guest that I had the past year that came on. I don't take it for granted at all. So, shout out to you guys. And also, there's another thing I want to address as well. Actually, there's another thing. So, also, because there was this one dude, he was like, hey, why every time you have a guest on, why do you always, I guess, give them their flowers in a sense, right? And for me, I want to make sure every time I have a guest on, I want to give them their flowers, because at the end of the day, too many times as men, we don't say, hey man, I see you, hey, I appreciate you, right? As men, I feel like we don't do enough celebrating of each other. And so anytime I have a guest on, I'm always going to celebrate them. Um, because for all I know, they've never heard those words. They never heard, hey man, keep being the foundation for your family. You're doing a great job. Hey, you're doing a great job providing. Hey, you know what? You're doing better than what your parents did. Hey, you're raising the bar, right? Things like that. A lot of times, some of us haven't heard those things, and so for me, I want to make sure that I give every guest their flowers. Also, on top of that, life is short. Life is short. So since I know life is short, I want to make sure that I say how much I appreciate every person I run into, because I don't know if tomorrow's promised, right? I don't want to be like, dang, the last time I spoke to them, I said, all right, man, have a good one, right? Or whatever the case is. For me, I want to make sure when I speak to them, or if I'm gone, right? Lord forbid something happens to me, right? I want it to be like, dang, when I last spoke to Sean, like, he was really encouraging me. Dang, he really said he believed in me. Dang, you know what? He really was rooting for me. Like, you know what? Um, I hope it comes off when I speak with people that they're like, man, no, he really legitly, is rooting for me. He really is pulling for me. He really tried to help me in whatever thing I was going through, or pointing me to whatever resources. That's just me. That's just how I am. I've always been that way. I've always wanted to just encourage and root for others. That's why for me, I don't really understand how people can hate on the next person, but to each his own, right? But that's why I do it. That's why I do it, is because at the end of the day, I never know if I'll ever speak to that person again, because life isn't promised, right? So I want my last words, if it is last words with them, to be, hey, I see you. Thank you. I appreciate you. You're doing great. You're amazing. Whatever affirmation that I feel is needed at that time, I make sure that I implement it into them and speak life into them. I don't want to speak death. I don't want to speak ill will, because we have too much negativity in the world. We have family, we have friends that will constantly speak negative and act like it's positive, right? Or shoot, they're doing it on purpose where they're speaking negative, right? So I want to make sure that I'm speaking life into everyone I come in contact with, and it's not just with people that I talk to, meet. I do this with my kids all the time, right? And so I just think it's something powerful in words, and when your words and your action matches, I think that's when you really can see, your blessings, and other people can see that you're really genuine in what you say. So, with that being said, I appreciate you guys like always. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, tell a friend, um, and like always, remember you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. See you guys on the next one.